Good morning, Grinders. Hey, everyone. Welcome to the DFS pregame show. I'm Jordan Cooper, a.k.a. Blender Head, Blender HD, the guy that hopefully we got a $4, like 150 max tonight. Hopefully I'm on top of you in that contest. But if I'm not, at least we could go over some strategies on how you could be on top of that contest, hopefully with me. We got a new producer with Eli. Eli's producing. This is his first time producing a show. Obviously, Devin is getting sick of everyone, so he's getting sick probably of my coffee because to him I don't drink coffee. I drink milk and sugar with some coffee tinge. As always with the coffee, you got to hit the like button to keep this warm because by the course of this show, this is gonna be cold. So I'm gonna get pretty pissed off if my coffee's cold. So hit that like and subscribe button. And don't give Eli a hard time in the chat, right? He's probably moderating some stuff, right? I already see Filton Johnson's here, Emilgal Ward, bunch of people in the YouTube chat. As always, post your questions, anything strategy related. We'll go over yesterday's slate. We'll go over today's slate. Today's slate is, who knows? By 5:30, everything changes. So does anything I say matter at this point? Maybe it doesn't. But you could do that in the YouTube chat. See, even there you go. See, Eli learned how to use the YouTube chat. Isn't it great? Hopefully this whole thing doesn't get disconnected. Can you people hear me? Okay, I think it's working. I think everything's working, right? Did everything work last night for you? Last night on last night's slate? It did for me a little. I mean, I had some lineups that we're getting there. We're getting there. Didn't have the right combinations. I went the right direction generally. Well, I went the wrong direction in certain times. But for the most part, yesterday was essentially like Blazers and Wolves kind of day, like with Jordan McLaughlin starting for D'Angelo Russell. We saw him being chalky. Malik Beasley in the backcourt there because, with Russell out and Towns out, I mean, someone's got to shoot the ball, right? Then we got with Draymond out, Eric Pascal was heavy chalk. He actually only scored 20 points, so you didn't need him. So he was popular. Also, due to the value that was opening up, it made Zach LaVine more higher owned than I expected. Actually, I had 30% LaVine last night. I thought I would be slightly over the field. Turns out I was under. He was 38% owned. Then we had the Blazers without Lillard. Draftkings, they did price McCollum up to 8,400, but still not expensive enough. He went for 76 points. So I was kind of surprised that he was only 35% owned. I thought he would be a little bit higher. And then we got like Naz Reid, who facing off against Jokic. I mean, he was 5,500, so it's not like he was a steal. A little bit better value on FanDuel. So he was a bit chalky. And then you got like Jokic and Barton, who I played a ton of on the other side of that Wolves game. And then kind of then we got like all the other ancillary Warriors and the ancillary Bulls in the short rotation. We had Kevin Looney because Marquise Chris was ruled out. But Kevin Looney didn't garner all that much ownership. He ended up 5% owned on across these three contests that I see. But because they also had they had Dragon Bender available, they had Smolagic, right? Like that front court rotation. Looney wasn't going to play more than 20 minutes max, regardless. So I mean, he was 3K. So some people jumped on board, but it was an interesting slate. And I went the correct direction that I went was playing a lot of the ancillary Warriors pieces. The incorrect position that I took was taking number one, way too much Eric Pascal and way too much Jokic and Barton, who didn't put up bad games, right? Jokic and Barton didn't. I mean, 48 and 24 points. I mean, they were there, but like not going to win you a GPP that way. But I had a lot of Jordan Poole. I had a lot of Kai Bowman, Damian Lee. I had a lot of those guys. And then I mean, Kai Bowman put up a 40-point game for 3,700. Damian Lee had a good 37 points for 5,300. Jordan Poole put up 30 for 4,600, which was okay. I mean, I still had some Wiggins. And like Brandon Ingram was popular. I had a whole bunch of Brandon Ingram. He didn't really get there at 33 points for 6,900. I mean, but that was kind of the way the slate was going. Are you going to play that with like a McCollum, Anthony, Whiteside, one of the Blazers, that type of thing? Maybe some Derrick Rose. So we see across the contests. I pull up the 888, the $15 fadeaway, and the and one, the $1 20 max. I always like, instead of showing the 4-point play, the $4 max, like the $4 one, like I could play it. The and one, like the top players, the high volume players can't play it. So I like seeing the difference between that. Either that or the mini max, something where the top ranked guys on the RotoGrinders leaderboard, probably they have over 1 million in entries, so they're not going to be able to play. But I like seeing the differences between where the higher stakes players went, where the lower stakes players went. You can see here, even in Results DB, which is free, you go to rotogrinders.com and get Results DB. I do this every day. I don't know why more people don't, because they're lazy, I guess, right? You will learn more studying top players than you will like analyzing like rebound rates or anything like that, right? Learning the game of DFS and not learning from like the top winning lineup, which could be an outlier, but learning from the better players. So I want to see, did I make the same choices, the same decisions as a lot of the better players on the site? Apparently with Will Barton, I didn't. But it's like the disparity between these are not like dramatic. So I like looking at the green on one side are like the sharper players. And the green on the other side are like the bad players or whatever, if you want to call it that. So I take a look. I was like, where's the green on this side? Or were there guys that I played on this side? Like, look at Kobe White. Kobe White almost put up 50 points. I don't think he was a bad play yesterday. But apparently, more of the higher stakes players didn't want to play Kobe White. Probably because of recency bias, because he had a great game the last game, but he obviously could have a great game again on a back-to-back against the Wizards. We could take a look here. I mean, look at Rui Hachimura. I mean, double the ownership. People still going back to that well. We take a look here. LaMarcus Aldridge. A lot of people played in lower stakes, not at higher stakes. We can see here with the news that Aaron Holiday started. He was like 3K. We saw, I mean, it's the disparity. It's not that big of a difference, but the higher stakes players more likely to take advantage of the late news. But like TJ Warren, like who paid the rake? TJ Warren was like 11% owned in these contests, and like in the 88, like nothing. Right, so we look down here. We see even like Small Agent. I mean, yeah, he only got 2.5 points, but it's late news. Kai Bowman, 40 points. He was look at the ownership. That was great. Go through down here. Who paid the rake? We got some Bruce Brown, 8%. There's some rake pay. Ariza, 5%. See, we can see who paid the rake on this slate. Like, right? Who played? Let's see, 3% Van Vliet with only 20 points. Well, that was a blowout. So. The Raptors were looking good yesterday until they were up by like 7 million points. So yeah, they didn't get like fourth quarter run. Lowry did a bit, but outside of that, like I had a bunch of Ibaka and he got stuck on 37 points, which is fine for Ibaka, but hey, play a fourth quarter rotation, he could have gotten 50. So looking through, I just like seeing who paid the rake, right? Paid 3% down here. OG Anunoby, 3%. JJ Redick, 4%. I mean, they're not horrible plays or anything like that, but you can just see that the higher stakes players didn't play any of them, right? D. Will in chat faded Pascal for Toscano Anderson. Okay, yeah, that makes the set like that makes sense. If you were going to play Pascal, more likely you're going to play probably Toscano Anderson or Looney or someone in that front court. I mean, we saw yesterday with the Warriors, like they had 9 bodies, but like 4 of them were front court players. So that's why I looked at that and I saw the opportunity to play the backcourt players, playing Lee, playing Bowman, playing Poole, I mean, Wiggins was 8K, so it's like I didn't really want to, but you can see that. Just that they had to play minutes. That there's no one to handle the ball. Like the front court could have been split up a million different ways, but the backcourt against the Pelicans in a game that was nearly a 240 total, especially if I'm playing a ton of Brandon Ingram, like let me just throw in some of these Warriors guys. It's not like I had a ton of them. Like, I think I had like 20. I played, 60 lineups yesterday, I think. I had like 25% Damian Lee. I had 20% Poole. I had like 18% Bowman, which was still like over the field on all of them. I wish I had more, but I had like 50% Jokic, though. I had 50% Jokic. I had 50% Barton. I way too much. I had like 57% Ingram. That's kind of what killed me, because I had 20% Kobe White. I had some of these guys, but my stance was more that I was going way under on Whiteside and way over on Jokic. Like I was flipping that, and I was also playing a lot more. Like I was under on Anthony and playing a lot more like Gallinari, like someone like that, or like a little bit more DeRozan. I mean, they didn't get there, but you could see just by looking, I pulled up some of the top players, right? This is what you do to study, right? This is what you do. Take a look at Results DB. It typically gets updated in the morning around 10 o'clock. Hopefully by 10 o'clock, it gets updated with because they update it periodically with all the contests. So I like looking at not just the top lineup, not the top lineup. I'm looking at the players, some of the players that I study. So I go through, I pulled up what? We got 7 of them here, just to see where did they find leverage. That's the key thing that you're looking for. Where did they find this is a large field GPP. This is the $15 400K fadeaway. So where did they find leverage? What were the constructions that they made? Not what players did they choose? Where did they choose to get different? What stands did they take? So you take a look at someone like Petty Theft, who came in, I think, second or third with 150 lineups. You saw that if we go by the field, like I'm looking for the blue and the reds pretty much on the screen. Blue meaning they went way over, and red meaning they went way under, right? It's color coded, so you know what's going on. So you could take a look. Petty Theft is like, nah, I'm not interested in Naz Reid, not interested in Barton, not interested in Jokic. Like he was under on that game, essentially, other than he was under on Jordan McLaughlin. He was under on Malik Beasley. He still had some, but not, I mean, he was 37% owned, 16%. I mean, he was half the exposure of McLaughlin and Beasley, and then didn't even bother. I mean, it looks like Barton was in like 1 or 2 lineups. Didn't even care about Jokic. Because who was he playing instead? He was playing a ton of Ingram, okay, playing a ton of Pascal. Now, Pascal and Ingram they didn't do much. I mean, Petty Theft had a lineup that came in what, second or third place? And you take a look at this and you go, how did that happen? Because you like a look, Wiggins, 56%. He only got 32 points, so that didn't do it. Derrick Rose. Look at Derrick Rose and Gallinari right here. He had 42%, 46% of 2 guys that scored 20 and 18 points for about 6K. So those were duds. So where you look at this and you go, how did he get a lineup? I mean, he had Zach LaVine. He got 48 points from Zach LaVine. Okay, I get it. 58% owned. Hassan Whiteside got 50. Okay. Carmelo, hey, he did well. 41 points for 5,600. He was good. But then you take a look down here and you go, oh, there you go. Oh, when you're nearly 6 or 7 times the field on Damian Lee, who put up a 7.5x in a shooting guard spot. Well, there you go. Oh, look, Thomas Satoransky. There you go. Satoransky, 5,300, puts up 48 points. Millsap, he had 13% Millsap, double the field. 14% Holiday, double the field. He had some Okogie, okay, I guess so. Kai Bowman here, 20%, right down here. So although you take a look that he had tons of exposure, tons, to guys that really didn't win anything for you. He had enough exposure to like key players like Bowman and Millsap and Satoransky. Like these are guys that, look, Bowman was 3% owned, Millsap was 6% owned, Satoransky was 7% owned, and Lee was 9% owned. That's heavy leverage. So if he could get 2 of these guys in a lineup with enough raw points, that could push him up. Those were the leverage points that he used. Very similar to me outside of Millsap. I didn't have any Millsap yesterday. We saw, look, across all these players, not many had Millsap, right? Really not many. So you take a look at like someone like Forsaken, right? Forsaken kind of did a similar thing. Just say, I don't care about Malik Beasley. Just screw him, right? Jokic, who cares? Nothing. Overweight on Whiteside, right? It's kind of like whatever you did with Whiteside and Jokic. Like what were you doing at center yesterday? Were you playing Naz Reid at center? Were you playing? I mean, you had a lot of people you see down here played a cheap Daniel Gafford at center. You see across the board. I mean, Utica didn't, but I mean, we have Brick 75, Chipotle Addict, Giant Squid. because that was a natural place to flip your construction. Because there was really, from a low price center, there really wasn't. I mean, typically you were playing Whiteside or Jokic, right? Maybe there was some Christian Wood ownership here. Okay, I could see that. There was some Ibaka ownership, but not all that much. So I understand the construction element of playing Gafford. I played some Daniel Gafford, but not much. But some of these guys went heavy on Gafford and played the flip-flop construction. Because I'm assuming if you have Gafford, a lot of Gafford, like we take a look at Brick 75, a lot of Gafford, which means he's able to pay up in like guard spots, small forward spots, right? That's why if he has that much Gafford, you would expect to see a lot of Levine, a lot of McCollum, a lot of DeRozan, right? We see a lot of high priced. Well, Jared Culver isn't high priced, right? We see with Brick 75, he had 26% Culver. That probably went against, 44% McLaughlin, right? Some people like Chipotle Addict went under a McLaughlin. Dude of Life went under a McLaughlin. I mean, he crushed, right? He was 4,000, right? 4,300, something like that, right? He got 38 points. You needed him, right? But it was obvious, like he was the obvious chalk. So, I mean, it's 49% owned. So if you wanted to get leverage there, really the place to get the most amount of leverage was fading Pascal, but like not many people did that, right? He was rated out as pretty much the top value play on the slate. So here, even the top players. I mean, yeah, Giant Squid went under, but outside of Giant Squid going under, out of the bunch of 7 people, like almost everyone was over. I mean, he was 51% owned. But that didn't stop any of these. I mean, that didn't stop them from getting a winning lineup. I mean, you could have won with Eric Pascal in your lineup. You could have. So taking a look over here, we have like Giant Squid. Where did he get leverage? He played a lot of Gallinari. We see here, look how much leverage. I mean, other than Forsaken, who kind of even with the field, Chipotle Addict a little bit over. A lot of people. Because small forward, power forward yesterday, outside of like Pascal and Ingram, like there weren't all that many options, right? So I could see that Gallinari comes in under-owned due to it, and then people take advantage. I mean, he had a horrible game, but that's where the leverage was, and I agree with it. I played a bunch of Gallinari. Take a look here through Uticow. Like look, just slam Pascal, slam Ingram, slam Jokic. Like he was the one that went the other way, right? Just going to play a lot of Jokic, play a lot of high-priced Jokic, play a lot of Gallinari. Play a lot of Derrick Rose, right? You can tell by his exposures, he probably didn't do all that well yesterday, right? Because he had limited some Anthony, under a McCollum. Had, some people went under. Like Dude of Life and Brick 75 were like, okay, give me McCollum. But a lot of the other players actually ended up going under or even with McCollum. I went over, right? Not like significantly. I think I had like 40-something% McCollum. But you see, like, these are all good players. I always mention this every morning that I do this show. All good players, all taking different stands, but they're taking stands. They're taking a stand on a construction. They're finding leverage, right? Well, whoa, why did they play so much Daniel Gafford, 15 points? Not because they like Daniel Gafford. He was in a fine spot against the Wizards. Okay, that's fine. Just a matter of like paying down at center allowed you to make so much leverage in your construction that why not make a whole ton of lineups like that? Why not? Why not do it? Right? Look at Damian Lee. A whole bunch of them were on the same page as me. Right? Damian Lee, look at this. Of these 7 players. I mean, obviously there's more than just these 7 players, right? But then we had like what? Chipotle Addict and Uticow said, okay, give me some Kevin Looney. That didn't work out, right? But it's the same mindset, right? Looney and Gafford fit the same mold. Looney was 3K. Gafford was 3,500. Same type of thing. Paying down at center allowed pay up at guard, pay up at small forward. You could play the DeRozans, Gallinaris. You could play Levine, McCollum. You can play those types of constructions that other players can't if they have Whiteside or Jokic in their lineup. And you're just hoping for a Whiteside and Jokic, dud. Which, I mean, Whiteside put a 50 and Jokic put a 48, which wasn't a dud, but still not a ceiling outcome. I mean, even look at Kai Bowman. Like some people said, okay, give me some Kai Bowman. Not some people didn't. Some Miles Turner here, some Jeremy Lamb who got injured. I'm just like taking a look. Nerlens Noel, who played the Giant Squid, played 15% Nerlens Noel because he was like min-price also, right? Same, he put up 23 points, but same concept. Cheap center. It didn't, I'm not sure, I don't think it worked out. It didn't work out. But I get the thought process behind it. It's not a thought process I did. I went the other way. Instead of playing a cheap center, I'm like, I'm just getting a ton of Jokic. I'm paying up at center. I got a ton of Jokic, a ton of Ibaka. It wasn't a pay up, but he was 6,700. And then playing a lot of the cheap guards that aren't McLaughlin. I mean, I may play McLaughlin in the lineup, but I was playing Bowman. I was playing Lee. I was playing Poole. I was playing Okogie. I was playing Culver instead of McLaughlin. Doing those types of lineups. Playing some Kobe White under 5K, right? That's what I was doing. Playing Satoransky at 5,300. Playing those types of lineups. That's what I was aiming for, which ended up being the right way to aim for. Just didn't get the right combinations. That's what you're doing. And I respect the players that went the flip route of like trying to just jam in high-priced other players and just going down at center. I perfectly understand it. Not everyone did that. But you need to have a strategy. What is your strategy? What is the thing that you're going to do? It's not a matter of, who are the best plays? Plug them in at whatever max exposure and then just run it and just run optimal lineups. You're never going to have leverage to win these types of tournaments. Tonight, there's 148,000 entries in that $4 150 max. You ain't going to win it with everyone being disowned, like, right? You're not going to win it with I'm going to play 6 to 8 of these guys. You're not going to. You have to find a way to be different and be smartly different. Most of these players found ways to be smartly different. Just because it didn't work out on that specific slate doesn't mean anything. You continue to make these choices. There's not like 180 slates in an NBA season. If you continue to make good leverage choices, good construction choices when you play GPPs, you'll get a top 5 finish. It'll happen, right? It'll come around. Even if you're playing 5 lineups, 10 lineups, 1 lineup, right? The less lineups means you're just going to take longer, right? More likely. More lineups doesn't mean anything. So you could do this in 5 lineups if you want. You could have gone into yesterday's slate and been like Forsaken and say, I'm playing 5 lineups and I'm not playing Malik Beasley in any of them, right? I'm not playing Jokic in any of them, right? You could do that. You don't need to have 150 lineups. Lazarus Taylor asks, how do you review this process if you're a 3 max and a single entry type of player? And probably study the 3 max and single entry contests. Maybe the large field 150 maxes aren't the places to study as much. But still, like, understand that you scale your leverage depending on the number of entries in a contest. Not the number of entries you have. The field size. So in a 3 max or a single entry, it may only be 4,000 entries as opposed to 50,000 entries. But you still need leverage. So if you want to learn how to maximize leverage, studying the large field contests makes the most sense because those are the contests that you need the most leverage. So studying the single entry 3 max, once you get that concept down, that would probably be beneficial. Because typically in those contests, the ownership actually gets even more condensed. It's actually easier to find leverage. It also means you don't need as much of it. So like that's the balance. So like in a single entry type of contest, Pascal was probably more than 51% owned. McLaughlin was probably more than 49% owned. I'm assuming in single entry, I mean, we could probably even look, right? I'd probably go here. Let's go here. I'll go to the contest. Do we have a single entry? Do we have anything? Let's see. What's updated? High 5 single entry? Is there a higher okay, mid-range jumper? It's only 875. Let's see. The pick and roll. Okay, here. It's a 3,000 entry contest. So let's go to the pick and roll. Let's go to ownership. Right? We take a look. Pascal was a little bit more owned, so 57%. 59% for McLaughlin. In the large field, McLaughlin was 49%. In this single entry, look, set nearly 60%, 57, even more. Like all the chalkier options are actually higher owned, slightly higher owned. I mean, higher enough owned. I mean, we're talking about 8 to 10 percentage points, which means that the lower guys are even lower owned, right? They got to flip flop, right? That's the way it works. That's how math works. So in single entry, it may get to the point where instead of eating McLaughlin, you fade. I mean, because now the ownership gets even more. If look at Pascal only putting up 20 points. Fading him in single entry actually was more beneficial than in large field because he was even more owned. So think in those types of terms. But that's why, like, if you're studying, if you're still not getting the concept of leverage down, of getting relative value in your lineup and compared to the field, like studying the large field GPPs, the good players, makes more sense because that's kind of the name of the game in large field GPPs, to beat that many entrants. In single entry, I mean, you could in this contest, in a 4,000 entry contest, you could win with practically a cash lineup and a 2v2. So but a lot of people focus on, well, what's the 2v2? Who should I play? Who should I play? Not what type of construction should I play. Large field are more geared towards what type of construction should I play. So if you're not as adept in that realm, I would say study the large fields just so you understand that. So then you can scale it down for these single entry and 3 max tournaments. Brandon Davis asks, I'm going through YouTube chat. I know sometimes it's a couple of minutes behind, but I will get to everyone. So just post it in. I like answering questions. And hit the like. Hey, if you want your question answered quicker, my coffee, I don't know what the temperature is. Yeah, it's getting to the point where I don't want to drink it anymore. You got to hit the thumbs up button. You hit the thumbs up button, my coffee gets hotter, I think. Does it? Does it get hotter? I don't think that's the way it works. Hit something on YouTube, but take your mouse and just whatever happens. Whatever happens. It helps the channel. If you like this show, it can't continue without the likes, right? Right? Maybe by baseball season, we get rid of it. Oh, no! No study sessions or anything, but so hit the like and subscribe button. So it makes me look better. Do it for me then. Okay, so Brandon Davis, serious question. Is it really a skill when people play like 300 lineups a night? Yeah. You go do that and see how fast you go broke doing it. You notice that, like, so many of these people, they put in 150 lineups, and like, you're going to lose 90% of the time. You will lose money 90% of the time. And if you're not a good player, the 90% of the time that you'll lose, you're going to lose like a lot of money. So in that $15 150 max contest, it costs you $2,250 to enter. Okay? 10th place in that contest is $1,000, right? So, like, you're going to have to place a lot of lineups pretty high in order to make any money. I mean, you'll put in $2,250 and you'll get back $1,400, right? Which means you lost $850. That's a normal night. And then maybe you hope 1-2 times a season you hit 100K, and that's your profit that makes up everything that you put in, and then gives you a nice 20% profit. That's the name of the game in that. That people that don't do it think, oh, I can cover all the bases. You can't cover all the bases. Or if I had that many lineups, I could win. No, you can't. I've seen people put in 150 max, put in 2,250, and get back $180. Right? You lost $2,000, and you could do that 5 nights in a row, and you're down $10,000 if you're not a good player, especially. It happens to good players also. So it's not a matter, like, you could play 300 lineups, 150 lineups, and 150 max, and just play optimal lineups and lose constantly, because the likelihood of lineups with no leverage winning a GPP is very small. So yeah, you min cash 40% of your entries. But min cashing at 1.5x, you end up losing money every slate. Go try it. People that criticize, oh, they're playing 150. Of course they're winning. Then you do it. Right? You go ahead. Go into the quarter arcade. You could do it for like $37. Go, just rake it out. You'd win all the time. Go for it. I'm telling you, it's extremely skillful to play 150 lineups. I think that the skill in playing 150 lineups is higher than the skill of just playing one lineup in single entry. Playing one single entry lineup is much easier. Oh, let's see. As Seth A says, that they're still taking a stand on lineup construction and they aren't playing every single possible line because you can't. Do the permutation. On yesterday's slate, there were probably, even if you take out the like the back of the bench. Like, I'm not even saying take out Toscano Anderson. I'm take out the guys that like are never going to see the court. Like, you could and make it so that you're not playing like 6 guys from a team or something. Yesterday, you could have made over like 1 million lineups combinations. So 150 ain't gonna that ain't anything. Okay, people are already talking about today's slate, top leverage plays. We'll talk. It's 11:30. We're getting there. We're getting there, people. Remember, I don't like talking as much about today's slate because who knows what the hell's going to happen today. By 1:30, Giannis is sitting. By Luka is supposed to play, that he doesn't play. We don't know. Right. Mike Campbell says DK has minimax every day. You start there to try your theory. Right. It's extremely hard. I'm playing 150 tonight because they have the $4 150 max. So I'm going $600. Give it to me because I live for large field GPPs. It's just I don't max enter like this fadeaway or whatever wherever it was. I don't even know where it is on the screen. Like, I think I played 30 lineups into last night because I don't like playing more entries than like 10th place. Like, that's kind of my rule, right? I'm not going to play any more entries into a contest that total combined doesn't equal at least 10th place in the contest. So if it's $1,000 10th place prize, I'm not going to play more than any amount of entries that it equals 1,000. It's typically my given rule. Playing 150 max is hard. It's not easy. The more lines just maximize the chance of a takedown, but it doesn't mean they're not losing most nights. These top players, I do. I mean, you're talking about me. They lose 90+% of the time. I in the premium Discord, right? You get all the premium stuff, but we're going to talk about. Look, I'm going to show you some of the projections, some of the numbers here. You get all this with premium. RotoGrinders.com/premium. I'm also in the NBA Discord, in the RotoGrinders premium Discord. I'm in there all the time, talking strategy. So join premium for $40 a month. You make that back in an easy. I mean, come on. I was a premium member way before they even knew who I was here, that I started doing the working for them. So to me, it's a no-brainer. But we talked about multiple times in the Discord. Like last year in MLB. Like, I play MLB GPP only, and I play, like, typically I'm playing 100+ lines, right? Lineups, as they call it, as you should call it. That I lost 94% of slates last year in MLB. Lost, meaning that I didn't get back as much money as I put in. But last year I had like a 40% ROI. I made like I don't know, $40,000 or something like that. I lost 94% of the time. Yeah, but the 6% of the time that I won. I'm aiming for the top spots. I did that 2 or 3 times. Done. There you go. That's how you play. Okay. Blender, how often are you using Slate IQ for lineup construction? Slate IQ, which is a premium feature on RotoGrinders, which shows it compares the 25 similar slates in the past to it. Most of the stuff in Slate IQ doesn't change from day to day. The correlations in NBA are not as strong or nowhere near as strong as other sports. So, like, it's something interesting to look at, but not necessarily. It's not a major part of what I consider. For baseball, much more so. For baseball or football, a more correlative sport, maybe more so, but not NBA, not as much. I will look at it, but it doesn't really change much of my decision making. Okay. Do you have any lineup HQs tutorials strictly for FanDuel? Yeah, I mean, you could look at Roto Academy. All the Roto Academy videos are in premium. So, like, it's not, you don't have to pay extra for them. So all the tutorials and everything like that, it's all the same. Like, just because if you play on FanDuel, it doesn't change. Like, leverage and correlation doesn't change. It's a concept of DFS. There are different nuances. You can only play one center on FanDuel. You have to play 2 from each position. Obviously, steals and blocks go up by a point, right? The bonuses don't exist, so the scoring is slightly different. But I mean, the concept it still applies the same way, right? Still leverage of what are people playing and how could I be different? That's pretty much it. And you could use lineup HQ on both sides. I mean, it's the same. The game is the same. The concepts of the game are the same. It's just obviously when the pricing is different. Yesterday on FanDuel, McCollum was $7K. I don't see how you don't play him. But FanDuel constantly has these guys priced down. And you how do you not play McCollum at $7K in the shooting guard spot? But you knew he was going to be 80% owned, right? So you have to weigh the value of playing him versus the leverage you could get by not playing. On DraftKings, you didn't have that with McCollum because he was 8,400. So yes, on a day-to-day basis, the players will change between the sites, right? On one side, you got to play this guy on this site, but on this side, right? The Raptors on FanDuel were priced lower than the Raptors on DraftKings. So if you played them on DraftKings, you got more leverage, but you, of course, paid more for them. So the difference between the sites doesn't matter. The concepts are still the same. Everything that I talk about on this show applies to any site, Fantasy Draft, the Yahoo, Super Draft, wherever it is, it still applies to. Where can I get leverage for the size of the GPP that I'm playing? But yes, you could Roto Academy. We have tons of lineup HQ videos. We have tons. I've done a bunch. Squirrel Patrol's done a bunch. JSU has done a bunch. Everyone's done a bunch. Britt's there. I mean, he's there. He's done a bunch, right? He's there. He's good explaining it, right? Justin Sports asks if you're looking to be a pro, whatever that's called. I don't know what the requirement is to be a pro. Would you say it's more important to be 150 guy or focus more on high stakes? Either. There are people that crush MMA and don't play any other sports. That crush soccer. That play tons of NHL and you barely see them anywhere. There's some people that are great at playing the 888 3-mat, and don't play large field. There's some people that play large field and don't play single entry. I mean, you don't specialize in whatever you're specializing in if you're good at it, and then make as much money as you can. I mean, some people work in different ways. I personally play I play cash in NBA at least, not in MLB. But I focus on large field GPPs because the most amount of edge exists in large field GPPs. Now, obviously, the variance is ridiculous, right? I'm playing tonight for 148,000 entries, $4 entry, 100,000 a first. The variances would be nuts. You can't expect to win those, right? You could win one a year. You're good. That's it. That's all you should need. That's all you're aiming for. When I go into an NBA season, can I bink one? I can lose every other slate. As long as I bink one, I make plenty of money, right? So that's how the thought process goes in. But in these large field GPPs, there are more dead entries because there are tons of recreational players, tons of casual players. Put in random lineups, right? They're at the bar or whatever. Or you get plenty of people that use an optimizer and think that, just by playing the top projected players, right? They min cash more often, but they don't have much equity to win. So there's a lot more of those dead lineups. It's very similar to poker, right? When you're playing a large poker tournament, 6,000 entries, there's probably tons of people that are here's $10,000. I don't have any chance to win. Versus playing a more exclusive, higher entry contest where most of the people are skillful players. So that's how I view it. But maybe you're good at it. I could play single entry contests. I could play 3-max. I've done that. I hand build, right? I hand built for 2 years before using any type of lineup builder or building tons of lines because I had to learn what makes good constructions. You had to learn that skill. All I'm doing with lineup HQ is taking that skill and just scaling it up. Going, the way that I used to hand build 10 lineups, I want to do that hand building, but I want to automate it so that it can do 10 times more because, hand building 100 lineups will take forever. It's not efficient to do. So you can do either way, whatever way that you want. I just find that there's more edge in large field GPPs, it just takes a long time to realize that edge, right? The variance in realizing that edge is ridiculous. Okay, let's see. Let's go to today's slate. Now that we're talking about, and hit that like and subscribe button because I can't drink this coffee anymore. Too cold. It's too cold coffee. The coffee is too cold, right? Okay. Today, essentially, as of this point, is if the guy's a Sixer, they're going to be chalk. Essentially, right? I mean that's what we're looking at today, right? Ben Simmons is out and Tobias Harris is doubtful, right? So essentially, it's Embiid, Richardson, Horford, right? Yeah, I would expect Horford starts, right? They would start Horford, maybe start Korkmaz or something like that. Neto, they do like Neto, Richardson, Glenn Robinson, Horford, Embiid, something like that, I guess. But yeah, but like guys like Richardson, if Horford plays 31 minutes, I mean, he's 4,500. Richardson plays 32 minutes, he's 4,800. Tobias Harris has usage. Simmons has ball handling. I mean, like Embiid is going to have to be leaned on even more. So, I mean, the Sixers are chalk. I mean, we could see that even just. I mean, look, I built 300 lineups just in random, just optimal, just default. Just give me the top 300 lineups based on our projections. Al Horford comes in 99% of them. Okay, 298 out of 300 lineups. Horford, Embiid, Richardson. The next spend up would be Luka at 10-5 against Minnesota. That seems obvious to me, right? You get some Harden, Gorgie Jeng. Now, we're going to have to see what's going on with the Grizzlies situation, right? Because Jaren Jackson's out for 2 weeks. Valanciunas is not going to play more than 30 minutes anyway, right? Typically, Valanciunas, that rotation is Valanciunas, Jackson, both Jacksons actually, and Brandon Clark. So, like, when Valanciunas is out, like, Jaren Jackson may play some center minutes. So, are those center minutes going to go to Jeng? Or are those center minutes going to go to Brandon Clark? Like, who starts? I would think Brandon Clark starts, and then Jeng plays the backup center minutes for Valanciunas. I'm not sure if Brandon Clark plays any center minutes. Or maybe, I don't know. It depends. I don't know how that's going to work out, but it's going to be some combination of that. And that's why they're showing up, because Jeng is what? They're like 3,400. Josh Jackson's 3,300. Brandon Clark's 5,500. So, yeah, I mean, Brandon Clark is priced where he's been. But if Brandon Clark's going to get, I mean, what are we projecting him currently at? Brandon Clark, we have him at 32 minutes, and he's a point per minute type of guy. So, yeah, if Brandon Clark gets 32 minutes, I'm going to definitely want to have a piece of him. See, it's the things like Gorgie Jeng. Like Gorgie Jeng projects, like if he plays 22 minutes, he projects at like a 7.2x median currently in our projections. But the question is that like, is he going to get those minutes? Would he be playing power forward alongside Valanciunas? I'm not sure against the Clippers. I'm not sure about that. And also, Gorgie Jeng is only center eligible. So, like, if you're going to play Embiid, like, that's a utility spot. We can say the same thing with Robin Lopez, right? Brook Lopez is out today for the Bucks. Lopez, is he going to get 25 minutes against the Wizards? The Wizards aren't a big team, right? Like Mahinmi, I guess, but you're not scared of Mahinmi. They could play Bryant and Hachimura. They could play a lot of people. Wagner at center. So are minutes going to Robin Lopez, or is Marvin Williams going to get some? Is Ilyasova going to play center? Because the Bucks don't play with a tradition. I mean, really, Brook Lopez isn't like a traditional center. A lot of times he's out by the 3-point line. So and then Washington doesn't have like a traditional big to guard. So is Robin Lopez going to go over-owned at minimum price? Probably starts, right? Maybe he plays 12 minutes a half. Is it going to be over-owned? I don't know. The more interesting part is that these guys are only center eligible. I think I'm more likely, looking at this right now, to take a shot on the cheap centers if I'm playing in a lineup that I'm not playing Joel Embiid, right? To take up that utility spot with one of the cheap centers I don't know. Is that going to be too chalky? I don't know. We don't even have ownership up yet. I don't know. All these things could change, so I don't even know what's going on. But that's what I'm looking at right now. That we got a chalk Embiid. Like if I'm building a lineup with a chalk Embiid, like we take a look. This is why I do these things. So I'm going to go to my lineups. I'm looking at the optimal exposures when you just run it. The top pay-ups are Embiid and Luka, right? So we get Luka and Embiid. So it's quite possible that if I do play Embiid in lineups, I'm not going to play them all without Luka. Like Luka and Embiid lineups, I may want to kind of separate a bit. So I'm going to try to find ways because Luka is a high-priced point guard and Embiid's a high-priced center. So I could see playing Luka and then like one of the cheap centers. Something like that. Or Brandon Clark even in the center spot. Or Horford in the center spot. I mean, you could play Horford in the center spot. So maybe in my Luka lineups, most of my Luka lineups, not all of them, I don't play Embiid and I play a cheap center. And then do the opposite in my Embiid lineups. In my Embiid lineups, maybe I play cheap point guards. Like if Patrick Beverly plays, maybe at 4K. Maybe I take a shot, maybe in Eric Gordon. I mean, he's not a point guard, but maybe I take a shot on Eric Gordon. Maybe George Hill is minimum price. No, I don't know. That could work out. DeAnthony Melton, possibly. I mean, he had a good game before. Do something like that. These are the things that I think about before, it's what? It's 11:46 in the morning. Everything could change, so this doesn't mean anything now. Maybe I play some Mike Conley in my Embiid lineups. I'm taking a look just through here. Maybe like Taurean Prince is 4,400. I mean, he's power forward eligible. But maybe I play Prince and Horford together and then pay up for Luka to make the construction different. Because essentially, the constructions that have Horford, Richardson, and Embiid together, like if you're going to play those three guys together, you better be contrarian elsewhere. I mean, you better start looking like once you go Horford, Richardson, Embiid, and Luka, like I may avoid that. I may literally make a group, which I'll show you in lineup HQ. I like showing things. I may make this group. So I go Luka, Embiid, Richardson. Where's Richardson? And I got Horford. Let's say I make this and I set my max at 3. Basically, I can't get more than 3 of these players. I don't want all 4. That half my lineup is essentially stone cold chalk, right? I could survive with 3 of them. And then I still have to set my exposures in order to get where am I finding leverage? Where am I playing? Who am I playing? I mean, because then I still can't just put in Clark and like those guys, right? Maybe Paul George is questionable, right? Is he? Yeah, he's questionable. But maybe I take a shot at like a Kawhi and play him instead of like Luka or Embiid. Maybe I do that. Because looking at small forward is not pretty. Okay? Small forward today on DraftKings is not pretty whatsoever. Just take a look here. You got Glenn Robb. You got some cheapies. But if you take a look at here, you get a lot of cheapies. A lot of cheapies that I don't really care that much about. So like Derek Jones, I guess so. Right? Duncan Robinson, Eric Gordon, Dylan Brooks at 4,800. Joe Harris. I mean, nothing that I like. So maybe you pay up. Maybe you go. You say, okay, maybe I'll take Kawhi. Maybe I'll take Kawhi. Pay up there at a weak position. So you're going to have to find small forwards. So maybe what you do, you could do it 2 ways. Take a stand on one of them and play a lot of them. Not like 100%, but a lot. You can say, okay, I'm going to, maybe Glenn Robinson, you put in a group where you're not playing like Richardson or something like that. So you make sure that, one or the other, or maybe Horford also, or something like that. And maybe you play a ton of them. Maybe you play Robinson in every lineup that you don't have Richardson in. So you have at least one of them. Maybe you go heavy and you say, screw it. I'm going to play a ton of Dylan Brooks. 60%. You could do that. Or you could take like 8 or 9 of them and then have like 10% of each. The Dean method. That's what Dean would do, right? 10% of everyone. You could do that because it's a weak position. Or pay up, right? Or play a Middleton or something against Washington. Or Kawhi. There's not many pay-up options here at small forward. You could do something like that. One of the two, but these are the things that I'm strategically looking at this point in the day. This is what I will reassess at 5:30 Eastern when the injury report comes out, because that's like kind of once that injury report comes out, then like most of the news we got. So then I could think about this again. Obviously, I think about these things much quicker than on this show because I'm trying to explain the thought process. But that's what I'm looking here. Okay, what am I doing at small forward? What am I doing at center outside of like Joel Embiid? And what am I doing at point guard outside of Luka Doncic? That's what I'm looking at today, right now. And then small forward, do I take a stand? Do I not take a stand? Do I take a bunch of different players and intermix them in? Or do I just say, screw it, I'm going to play 75% of one small forward and hope they're the guy that I need? Either way is fine. Ownership is out, they say. Initial ownership. This is initial ownership. I mean, it's good. I don't think I'm saying anything that's right. I mean, come on. Did I say anything that look, ownership didn't even come out yet? Well, Horford and Embiid, Richardson, and Luka. I mean, come on. Sometimes you don't need to wait for these numbers to come in. It just makes sense, right? I mean, especially since if you run them. Like, that's what the ownership is kind of based on, the projections, which are similar around the industry. So if you run 300 of them, you'll get a sense of what the ownership's going to be, right? So that's what I said. All the guys that came up on top, right? There you go. Look, they're all there. Do you have to wait? That's how ownership is kind of predicted based on constructions. David says none. Yeah, the Heat got with Butler out. The Heat guys are in play, but remember they're priced up a little bit more, right? They're not. None is in 4,600. He's 5,600. Dragic is in 5,400. He's 6,000. Derek Jones Jr. is in 3,200. He's 4,100. Robinson is in 4,500. He's 5,000. They're all fine. I think the Heat guys are fine, but like they're not as screaming values as they were the last game that Butler sat out. So you can play them. But they don't rate out. They don't rate out poorly, but they don't rate out like in comparison to the Sixers are without Simmons and Harris, two of their highest usage guys, and they're playing the Hawks. And they have an implied total of 118. Okay? And they're obviously not priced for Simmons and Harris to be out. So at least the Butler game, Butler's been out for a game. So DraftKings did raise the prices a bit on the Heat guys. They didn't predict Simmons and Harris being out, or didn't care. So the Sixers are underpriced. So I would definitely play the Sixers in a vacuum, like just the 1-to-1. You play the Sixers over the Heat guys. But obviously, they're also going to be chalkier. So, I mean, you have to weigh. That's what you're weighing. The best plays are the plays that you find there to be more value in their lower ownership. So that's why it's not a matter of, is Horford a good play? Yeah, of course he's a good play. But he may not be a good play in a lineup that is absurdly chalky in a large field GPP. A better play could be Eric Gordon. I mean, how do I play Eric? I don't know. No one wants to play Eric Gordon. But playing Eric Gordon over Josh Richardson in a specific lineup could be a better play. Just for the sense that you get them at 4 times less ownership. Maria, Don Yeezy's here. Yeezy's here. Devo isn't here. Devin isn't here. Eli is producing. That people don't know because they came late, right? They came late. Eli's never produced a show before. Apparently, since people are in chat actually responding to the show, it's live on the air, so I give him an A+, right? There's not much to screw up with this stuff, right? As long as you can hear me and see my screen and see me and everything, you don't even have to see me, right? You don't even have to. Who wants to look at me? No one wants to look at me, right? So he's got to be doing a good job. People are listening in the app, probably the RG app. You can listen to the shows there, right? They can hear me, right? So I mean, got to be doing a good job, right? I don't know. I don't see the stream. Maybe am I pixelated? I don't know. I don't know what's going on. Let's see. Embiid will burn everyone with 44 points. He could. So don't play him in the lineup. You can play him in other lineups. GPP, why not fade Embiid? Then fade Embiid. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm telling you, if you fade Embiid, what does that lineup look like? If you fade Luka, what does that lineup look like? If you fade Horford, what does that lineup look like? If you fade Richardson, what does that lineup look like? That should be the name of my song. What does your lineup look like? If you're playing large field GPPs, you're going to have to get leverage somewhere. You're not going to be able to play. I'm going to play all the chalk, right? I'll play all these guys. You win a 148,000 entry contest with that. So you have to fade someone. You're going to have to find leverage somewhere. So based on the price and positions, you have to see. That's why that's why today I'm gonna try to keep. If I'm playing Luka and Embiid in the same lineup, I know that I need to find some low-owned people. I need to find some super leverage. But if I'm not playing them both together, I don't need to find 3% owned whoever. I don't need to find that. But if I'm playing like Horford, Embiid, and Richardson together in the same lineup, I probably want to play a Hawk on the other side, maybe play Trae Young or something. But even then, I'm playing like the three chalkiest guys in the same lineup. I'm going to have to find some 3%, 5% owned, someone down in this range. Go play a, who knows? I'm playing D'Angelo Russell against Dallas at 8,700 at 4% owned. I'm going to need to find someone like that if I'm going to play all of these guys together. If I don't play all of them together, I don't have to go this low. I don't have to go, how do I find, maybe Aaron Gordon does it at 7,400. Because I wouldn't play him at 7,400, but he's going to be 1% owned and he's Aaron Gordon. So who knows? But that's the type of thing you have to think about if you're playing all the chalk guys together. Once I'm not playing like all the chalk guys together, then I can start taking decent plays. I go, okay, Donovan Mitchell ain't bad. Oh, maybe some Spencer Dinwiddie, maybe. Maybe instead I play Duncan Robinson at 5K. I mean, guys that are in good spots still are going to be somewhat owned, but not absurdly owned. But once I start making constructions where I'm playing all the chalk guys, you can't just continually to play the chalk in a contest of this size. So you know where the most leverage you get is. You see it right up here in the ownership. Doesn't mean you fade all of them. People think that's what it means. Oh, I'm just going to fade the Sixers completely. I've never said that. I just said maybe not playing all three together in the same lineup. That's it. Maybe play Horford and Richardson and you fade Embiid. Maybe you play Richardson and Embiid and fade Horford. Maybe you did two of the three. Maybe you just play one of them in a lineup. Maybe you say I don't even want to play two of them in a lineup. I just play one of them. Maybe instead of playing Richardson, you play Neto or Robinson instead, and you still play Embiid in that lineup because at least you're not playing Richardson or Horford. Which way is the best way? No one knows. That's the point. But making a choice like that, that's what you should be considering. That's the strategy of DFS. I'm not predicting who's going to have a worse game, who's going to have a good game. All I know is that they project well. The likelihood of them having good games is higher. It's not a lock. It's higher. You can see it right here. You can see it in the projection model. Then it's higher. They're in a good, obviously, and they're underpriced. I get it. But I can't play all three of them in the same line. I mean, I'm not going to get enough leverage. I know where the leverage is. So let me go get it. Let me go grab the leverage. Young is a great pivot off of Embiid. Yeah, you can do that. Richardson and Burks. That's it. Yeah, you can do that. You can play Korkmaz. You can play Tybal. You can play any of these guys. I'd play those guys in the place of one of Horford or Richardson. I'd play them in the place of, not with them. That, to me, that doesn't make it. You're trying to get leverage. You're going, Richardson has a bad game, but because Richardson had a bad game, Burks had a better game. Richardson got into foul trouble. Something happened where Chalk Richardson fails, and the benefit of Chalk Richardson failing is contrarian Burks doing well. That makes sense. David Owen says this chat makes me believe DFS is alive and well. People say there's no edge in DFS anymore, right? And I see the most stupid stuff being talked about on Twitter, right? People's replies to stuff I see the chat everywhere. Like, nope, people don't get it. That's why there's still an edge. And Tony Tischhauser is absolutely right in the chat. Pivots don't have to be the same spot as PG. They can be other spots to make a different lineup. That's correct. Don't think in terms necessarily of, I'm going to fade Richardson. Is there another $4,800 shooting guard that I can play instead? Think in terms of, if I fade all, let me pay up at shooting guard so I just don't even have to play a $4,800 shooting guard. I'm playing Mitchell. I'm playing Donovan Mitchell there instead. But obviously that means I need to pay down elsewhere. And that's why I was talking before about paying down at center for construction leverage, because it's going to be available this slate. If you're going to fade Embiid, it's quite possible a strategy could be to just punt it. Play Gorgie Jang, play Robin Lopez, play someone like that. Just avoid the center spot. Just punt there and hope no center does well. And that Robin Lopez's 22 is fine. You could do that in a non-Embiid lineup. That makes strategic sense if you're playing large field GPPs. But everything can change. You never know. I mean, like 5 hours from now, who knows? Who knows what changes that now there's value in some other position. I mean, we don't know yet. But that's what I'm looking at. Right. Embiid is a lock for cash, but I'm fading him in GPP to get leverage. Yeah, if you fade and bleed, you know you got leverage automatically. Like, you're wiping out 40+% of the field easily if he does. Doesn't mean you have to do that in every lineup. If you're playing 20 lineups, you could, if you want, play 0 Embiid. You could also play 4 Embiid lineups that also have leverage in a different way. That's why I show the top player. I mean, I got rid of them over here, but that's why going back to bookend this whole show, showing the top players. They didn't all make the same choices. They're all top players, but they didn't all make the they all made leverage. They did make leverage choices, and they were different ones. So that's all I harp about on this show. Not who to play, but how to play them. So if you're going to fade Embiid, what does that lineup look like? If you're going to fade Luka, what does that lineup look like? Thinking in terms of, once you get leverage somewhere, what does that lineup look like? And both sides are valid. You can say, well, I'm going to go 100% on Embiid. Well, you can do that too. But what do those lineups look like? I hope it's not Horford, Embiid, Richardson, Luka. I hope it's not that, right? They are the best plays. It's quite possible that all 4 of them crush, and you still need all 4 of them. It's quite possible, but they're the obvious spots to get leverage at. You don't have to do them all, but you just have to think in those terms. Once you think in those terms, you don't need me anymore. You don't need this show anymore. You can do this on your own. This is what I do every day. This is what I do every day, transparently. I'm not hiding anything. This is how I play. Okay? So I hope you learned something, right? Hope you learned something. I guess Eli learned how to produce a show. So let's all hit that. Let's hit that thumbs up button. If this show went swimmingly, went smooth sailing for Eli's first ever produced show, hit that like button. Just hit it. If you maybe there was a glitch, maybe I don't know about it. I don't see the show as it's going on. I just see my little Zoom screen. So maybe it was horrible. Maybe there were cuts there. Maybe cut off my head. Is my head cut off? Is the microphone still in the shot? Should it still be there? I don't know. Maybe you did a horrible job. Hit the thumbs down button if you did a horrible job. I don't think the YouTube algorithm doesn't care whether or not it's a thumbs up or a thumbs down. But if Eli did a good job, that means Devin was a good teacher, I guess, right? Or Eli sees how easy it is, and it's like, wow, Devin has a really easy job. It could be one of the two. I have no idea. I mean, I produce shows. Right? I produced yesterday's Crunch Time. When things go wrong, that's when you need Devin. Okay, that's typically when, like, it's all well and good until the echo happens, something crashes, and then you're like, I don't know what I'm doing. Right? Your screen starts rotating. Right? Your head starts rotating. Who knows what happens? Right? Is the coffee hot? The coffee is not hot at all. The coffee, I mean, I could feel it. The coffee is. I'm refilling the coffee now. The coffee pot should be hot. So I'll be back tomorrow. Yep, I'm on tomorrow. And then we got Tuttle, Britt, Kyle the rest of the week. So got the $4 150 max on DraftKings, and obviously stuff on FanDuel. So until tomorrow, that has been the DFS pregame show on RotoGrinders.com.